the still of the night, I think of you. My heart beats with every thought of you. You're the one I can't.
You did this? Chuck asked, dragging him from the bodyguards and about to punch him. She's out, Uche helped Miracle out of the cage. Chuck let go of the pastor to go to his sister. By then, more people had entered, and police siren could be heard getting nearer and nearer. We need to get her to the hospital now, Stanley said. You don't know that girl. She has the spirit of prostitution in her. We need to deliver her from her spirit husband, the pastor shouted. Chuck finally punched him and was going for the second one. Your sister needs you. He went to her. She's not moving? Chuck lifted her into his arms. Miracle moved and opened her eyes slightly. I prayed you would come. Water. Stanley got water from one of the bodyguards. By then, the police had arrived and more people too. We need to leave now. People are making videos. It will soon turn into a riot. They began to leave. Pastor began to shout, Son of a prostitute! That is Chuck Obi, the footballer, son of a prostitute. The police hushed him, but too late, all eyes and phone were already on Chuck. Let's leave here, she said, surrounded by the bodyguards and a few policemen as they rushed to the car. Chuck's hoodie fell off, and the vibe suddenly changed from angry mobs to excited mobs. They began to run after him, shouting, Baba bless your boys now, Baba bless your boys now, like a mantra. Just as they got to the car, the media arrived and they hurried into the car, evading them. Some ambulances and more policemen were also arriving. They all heaved a sigh of relief as the car left the area. How is she? Stanley asked. Chuck touched her and she stared weakly. Water, she said again. Richie handed him a bottle. This is going to be a PR nightmare, Richie mused. He began making calls. I want the PR team to meet me at Grace Hospital in an hour. He cut the phone. I think it's time I told the truth about my background. Our PR team will handle it, Richie said. That man will tell a malicious truth, just to distract people from seeing how evil he is. It is better they hear my truth from me. He is right, Stanley agreed. Maybe, but we will still have our PR team prep for it. Okay, Chuck agreed. Right now, let's focus on Miracle. The hospital waiting room was virtually empty, but for Uche, Stanley, and Chuck, who was pacing up and down the room. Stop pacing, it's gradually turning into hypnosis, Stanley said. I don't get how a human being could get that wicked. How dare you lock humans in cages? He's a depraved lunatic. First News posted, what do two billionaires and an international footballer have to do with girls in cages? They are making it look like we are covering our tracks. According to the blogger, we were only interested in saving one girl, and they implied that knowing the girl's identity would lead to answers the world needs. So they didn't write that with our help, those girls were freed from the monster holding them, or that we gave free world-class medical care to each and every one of them? Chuck asked. You don't blame them. Only one of the girls is newsworthy. In a few hours, we'll come out with a joint statement. The PR job is to direct the media to what is more important. A man putting girls in cages and the parents who took their daughters to him to be cured of immoral spirits. Depending on how it goes, you might have to tell your story. But I assure you, this will be forgotten in a day or two, Uche said. Just then, Charles entered with Eva. I have a feeling you boys will be needing a lawyer, he announced as he came in and helped Eva to a seat. What in the blazes is going on? Eva roared. Easy. That alone will startle the baby. Don't mess with an angry pregnant woman, Helen and Mma entered just at that moment. "Congrats, you just broke the internet, babe," Mma announced and walked over to Uche to give him a quick hug. "How is she?" Helen asked, going towards Chuck, but she wasn't sure what she was going to do once she got to him. She already knew it would not be that easy and natural to give him a quick hug like Mma did to Uche, not with what she was planning on her mind. She didn't know how to show him affection with all his friends and family watching. Oh, but how much she wanted to take him in her hands and chase away the worry she had seen written all over his face, to smile and touch his cheek and kiss him while standing on tiptoe. To Helen, those were just her daydreams, but only when she felt her hands around him did she realize that she acted on it. There was no time to be startled because it seemed as if that was all he had been waiting for. He held on to her for dear life. "How did you know I needed that?" "I saw you, and all I could think of was comforting you." "How did I get this lucky?" "Nothing I have done in my life says I deserve you." Helen withdrew a bit and looked at him lovingly. "You must have done something right, somehow, somewhere, at some point." "Not that I don't like to see new love, but I am too impatient now." "What is going on?" Eva repeated. "How is she?" Mma asked. "Who is she?" Eva all but screamed. "Our sister from my ever-faithful mother," Chuck replied. "What?" Just then the doctor came in. They all turned to look at him expectantly. "How is she, doctor?" "She's fine, highly dehydrated and malnourished, and some of her injuries infected. Physically, she would be fine." "What do you mean, physically she would be fine?" Chuck asked hesitantly. "When you go through an ordeal such as that, there is no how you come out without scalding, emotionally and maybe mentally. I am saying the bulk of her injury would be on the inside. She would get every help she would need," Chuck answered. "And oh, she's asking for her brother, the footballer." "She's what?" They all looked at each other as Chuck followed the doctor out. Chuck tentatively opened the door to Miracle's room and walked in. She sat up as soon as she saw him. Chuck was startled at how much she looked like Pat. That very light complexion, the huge eyes, rose pink lips, and a very tiny body frame. And suddenly it was his childhood all over again, and he was staring at Pat. He had to force his mind to remain in the present. Miracle tried to smile at him. He was about to smile back when suddenly her face contorted into a cry, and she began to sob instead. Chuck rushed over to her bed. "Hush, it's okay. You are safe now. No one will ever hurt you again." "What took you so long?" Miracle asked, and he looked at her curiously. "You know about me?" "Mom told me." "I pestered her with wanting to meet you," she smiled at last. "I used to brag about you to my friends, even though none of them believed me. I am sorry I didn't know of your existence. I would have come for you sooner. Mom was going to take me to meet you once you were back for your annual break. That was 3 years ago. Why didn't she? My father came for me and took me from her forcefully. I am sorry you had to go through that. Even then I believed you would come for me once you come back, but you didn't. I always wondered why. Didn't Mom tell you about me? That I've been kidnapped? Didn't you want me? I felt forgotten. I didn't hear from Mom for 3 years until I called her by chance. Even then, I didn't wait to hear her voice because I would have been caught." Chuck wiped tears from her eyes. I only recently learned about you and I began searching for you, but all that is in the past now. You are safe and no one would ever hurt you ever again as long as I live. She embraced him. What about Collins? Mom told me about him too. You will meet him once we get home. When am I going home? I will speak with the doctor and I don't want to sleep in the hospital. I want to go with you. I don't want. Please don't leave me here. Chuck could clearly see the fear of abandonment on her face. Those huge eyes, an innocent face pleading. And then he realized he would never be able to deny her anything she would ever ask for. Okay, you will come home with me. Tonight, I'll speak with the doctor. Thank you, and to those who helped rescue me. He smiled. They are your friends? One is my brother, and one is our best friend. Mom didn't mention another brother. I am sure there are a lot Mom didn't mention. But don't worry your head about it. It would all be clear soon enough. Right now, you need to focus on getting better. She smiled and nodded and laid back on the bed, apparently tired. Chuck led Miracle into the living room. The first person he noticed was Collins, but nobody seemed to be moving as they entered. They all seemed to be content watching the pretty girl held by her big brother. Miracle looked at the splendor of the living room with nothing but bewilderment. Finally, she noticed every other occupant of the room, and she seemed to move closer to Chuck. Chuck cleared his throat and tried to contain the emotion building up inside him. Everybody, this is Miracle, my sister. It was strange how everybody seemed to come out of their shock to go welcome and embrace the little girl. That's Collins, Chuck said, and Miracle smiled, running to him. Pat told her about us, Chuck explained to an astonished Collins. Chuck saw Rose standing by the corner and smiling with happiness. And that is our mother, Rose. Suddenly Miracle recoiled as if bitten by a snake. No, I don't want to meet her. I want to live with you. I don't want her to steal me away. Mom said she stole you and Collins away from her. No, stay away from me. Stop, Miracle. Chuck knelt in front of her. You know how happy you are that I came to save you from your father? Miracle nodded. First, we were not stolen. Chuck. She doesn't need to know the family history just yet, Rose said. I know, Mom. But if you had not raised me, he turned to Miracle. If I was not raised by her, I wouldn't have had the power I had to save you from your father. I would have been as helpless and powerless as your mother was when your father took you from her. She gave you the power to save me? Miracle asked. Chuck nodded. She turned to Rose. Thank you for your power. Rose smiled at her. Dinner is ready, May announced. Chuck looked at his watch and saw it was very late. He realized almost everybody would sleep over. Just as he was moving to the dining room, IG arrived. The internet is agog with news of you, she said to no one in particular as she walked in. We'll explain later, Stanley said. Chuck couldn't keep the frown from forming on his face as he watched IG. Just for today, he wished he could wish her away. Much later in his suite, Chuck strolled out to the living room and found Helen there, sitting on the couch lost in her thoughts. He watched a series of emotions pass through her face. There she sat looking at the open drapes, the moonbeam casting a soft glow on her face, making her look so enchantingly beautiful. How did he get this lucky? He had seen all there was to be seen in women, rare beauties, intelligent executives, voluptuous models, even the pious ones. She was none of those, and yet she seemed to be all of those and more, put together in one being, just for him. And he wondered again what he ever did to deserve her kindness, selflessness, and passion. You look like a goddess, with the moon casting its glows on you like that, he said, sauntering towards her. She was startled out of her miserable thoughts as he spoke and approached. She watched in awe once again at the man she could nearly call her own. She had wished for this, maybe too much that she wished it into being. She loved him with all her heart, and she wanted so much to tell him that, but she knew she mustn't. If she did, he would never let her go. She would never be able to live, and live she must.
In the still of the night, I think of you. My heart beats with every thought of you. You're the one I can't let go. In your arms I find my